Booga Box live stream. It's Thursday. Still working on the inlay, so I do want to thank everybody for joining us. If you're watching this live or if you're watching this later, I do appreciate it. Don't forget to give the thumbs up, like, shares, all that good stuff if you can. Let people know we're out here. I mean, chainmail's a little bit boring, but you pop back in every once in a while and you get to see what happens. If you haven't been here in a little while, you can see we made a little bit of progress now. It's starting to get a little bit more to it. Let me grab the thing here in a second. I think I got everything working now. Everything looks like it's going good. So here's what we're going for. It's a griffin head from my old high school. I wanted to. I've had 3 inlays I've wanted to do related to my school, my old high school. For years, I've already done one. I did W a few years back, probably 3 or 4 years ago now. Working on this one. I still got one more eventually I want to do, but they all seem to come about for a reason or whatnot, so I just figure I go with them whenever it seems to fit. So that's what we're going with. Like I said, we're over a quarter way now through it. I'm going to go ahead and get started on it here. I don't want to have to edit too much away from this. We're using the one camera again, so I can do a time lapse. So quicker I get into it, the less I'll have to edit later. Is I'll here either tonight or by tomorrow we'll be at about 30 hours, because we're getting pretty close now, and we made a pretty good progress yesterday, and I thought I was actually going to get in an extra 2 lines yesterday, but kind of things. I had a lot of stuff I needed to get done around the house, and wife asked me to do some things, so kind of threw everything off. And there is a point anymore at night that I won't do it if I'm too tired per se. With this especially, because I don't want to screw it up because it's hard. I did say impossible at one point in time, but John was here and corrected me. It's not impossible to fix a screw up, but it will take a lot of work. You got to work your way up to it, or down to it, or from side to side, whichever way you want to tackle it, depending on where the problem is. But and so last night I was hoping to get more done, didn't, but right now I'm still ahead of my schedule of bare minimum to get done per day, to get it done by when I want to get it done by. And I'm ahead of that by a lot, so we're good to go on that. But today's Thursday. You won't see it again until next Tuesday, and there'll probably be a lot of progress done by next Tuesday. We should be down past the full beak area that we're kind of starting to work on now. We'll be well past this. We'll be down into the neck and feather areas. The rest of it's, like I said, just more feathers out that way. So we'll be getting into that by early next week for sure. Let's see here, that one's that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Alright. So yeah, the more of this we get together, the more it's starting to look like something. Like I said, this part still reminds me of the bony, what is it? I was telling the son that the other day, and he told me what the name of that stupid Pokemon was, but the bony Pokemon. That's what it kept reminding me of now. It's still a bit there, but there's still a bit. Once the beak gets fully in there, I think, then it'll get out of my brain what it's looking like. And then once, I get down past some of these fuller feathers areas on the side here of the head, then it'll be a point of more of, it's just going to be adding in the little bitty feathers, so it won't be as noticeable as you're working down, but I screwed that one up. Grab another. I know what I need to do here. There we go, that's it. Been finding it better to just, I always look either over or under my glasses when I'm working, just because I can see them better than looking through my glasses. And I've been finding it easier here lately to take off my glasses, so I don't have to try to go above or below them, and I can just see better because I'm still looking down a bit, but not nearly as bad as under my glasses. I've just been finding it easier to work that way. Though I will say when I'm done, well, okay, yeah, I didn't even think about this till now. I can't see if anybody makes a message, I can't see it right now. I think I could see movement enough that if I notice, if I look, I'll see a difference in the shadowing of colors when somebody makes a post. But it sends a message or whatever, but yeah, I didn't think that part out. I hadn't really had to think about it when I've been doing it by myself. Without doing a stream, I just take them off, let the video go. When I'm done with my session, I'll just throw my glasses back on and off I go. So didn't think that one through for a stream. Hard to reply to something when you can't see it. Like I said, it should be okay. I mean, we don't get a lot of messages in here. That's all good, you know. People want to post, they can. If not, it's all good. I can sit here and talk to myself. My kids will say that I can talk to myself very well. They've caught me talking to myself many times through the years. But it's still a hot week here. We've been almost 100 every day, if not 100. The feels are way over 100. It's just been awful, awful, awful out here. Looking forward to Saturday and Sunday now. It's supposed to start cooling down finally Saturday, and Saturday night and Sunday some rain, which we haven't had in a while, which would be nice. But even without the rain, just cooler. I'd take 90 right now compared to what we've had. Alright, there's a big count here. 20 reds. Okay. One thing I also can't see, I guess I'll notice some reds over there if I'm not having a good audio or video stream. Alright, 22, 4, 6, 8, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. I'll get to the side. I got a few of these. I'm mixing in, well, I'm not necessarily mixing in, but within these batches, you're always going to get some fluctuations in colors. And I had some that were a little off, a little darker, but then I had some that were kind of way darker. I got to pile them over to the side. I'll use those for something else, but I'm mixing in some of them with this because, honestly, on some of the fuller inlays that I've done like this, when the colors are just exactly the same for too much, it kind of, I don't know, to me, in my opinion anyway, it just looks a little weird. So I kind of actually like it when there's a little bit of a slight variations in my colors. And I actually save those to come back with them depending on what I'm working with. You know, if I want to kind of add more of a shadow to an edge, if I'm working in more solid colors. Something that I've kind of been working with some of my smaller inlays, playing with, and I'm kind of liking how it's coming out. But I mean, overall, generally, I think just having, you know, the more inlays you do and the more colors you get, you start getting variations of the colors, because they always say when you do an inlay, you should order everything you need at once, so you normally get all the same colors from the same batch, because excuse me, that batch can be a slightly different color than the next time they come and run that color, because, you know, it's just not always exact. It's within the specifications, and that's all good, but though I have gotten some ugly ones at times. It was probably 7 years ago now. I got some real ugly green from TRL. I guess it doesn't matter if I say it or not, but even back, this was when things were running even better, but I got an ugly green one year. Ordered a bunch of it. I think it was August, around this time of the year. It's normally when I get a lot of that stuff so I can start preparing for the Christmas stuff. You know, make a lot of stuff with green, you know, with wreaths and Christmas trees and all that stuff. But the green I got that year was just dull, and on it, the first Christmas tree I made with it, it looked like I purposely built with the color to make a dead Christmas tree. I mean, that's what, so that's what I called that green that I got. And I was like, yeah, this is just dead Christmas tree green. I mean, it's not completely dead where it's brown, but yeah, it was just ugly looking. And every year it's always a little different. You know, what's this year going to run? And that's even between the different manufacturers I'm getting stuff from. I still need to get some more and more stuff from Wally up there. I got some of his colors a little bit for testing and stuff, and I like the sizing and everything seemed to work well with it. I built several bracelets out of it, and I just need to get some more to add to the collection. But you know, I think the biggest thing is I need to plan an inlay for his rings specifically, and that'll help me. Because right now I've got such a mix of rings. When I go to do an inlay, I need to kind of stick with the rings that I've got, because that's what they were kind of bought for. But again, I have to be, because though this ain't gonna, it's not a huge thing, I don't think anyway. But for my Chiefs inlays that I'm doing, I've done the one end zone, and I'm going to be doing the other end zone. And I ordered all my green at the time for the one end zone, and did it. But the new green that I ordered for the other end zone, even though I don't plan on doing it for a while, I wanted to go ahead and get the rings for it and stuff. The green is definitely a different color. And I'm like, well, that's probably not going to be too bad. They don't have to exactly match. And if they were actually kind of really off in a way, it would actually make it kind of cooler, because, I mean, the Chiefs don't necessarily do that, but some fields have kind of two different color greens in their end zones. But so that is actually going to be a little different. I knew I was going to do them too, but I couldn't at the time order for both of them. But I got enough, you know, at the time to do the one. I want to make sure it was all, and even then, like I said, the batches, most of it was all the same, but there was variations within each of those, depending on, you know, how they coil these up and get them anodized, and sometimes near the end of a roll they get anodized a little heavier, because that's where the connectors are, and more of the electricity or whatnot is going through it. And, I mean, I don't know exactly how anodizing aluminum is, but I've read enough on it. I kind of got the basic idea, but there's always some variations in it, so sometimes worse than others. But after this, like I said, we will be getting back into the Chiefs stuff, because I got to get out my Kelsey jersey. I want to get it going. I know I probably will not have it done by Christmas. I'd love to. I know I could, because I've gotten, like, I did my homes quick, but there's a lot of other stuff going on when I did my homes, so actually less stuff but more stuff, if that makes any sense. That was, you know, the beginning of 2020, so yeah, that was the weird. So I had a little extra time in a way. There was no events for sure going on, nobody knew what's going to happen, blah blah blah. So I did, it was 175 hours, and it took 39 days, a little over a month, and I was punching out 6 to 8 hours sometimes a day in it, which in chainmail, that's, you know, you do this for a couple hours, I'm sure there are people that could sit here and weave rings for 8 hours or more without, you know, maybe a little break here and there, but it gets tiring pretty quick, especially the older I get. But, you know, that's why I do mine in little sessions. You know, if I can get in, you know, 30 minutes every hour, that's actually pretty good. Kind of just depends, though, also on what I'm weaving. Some things, depending on the weave, you're not opening as closing, let's say, as often, kind of. I mean, it just depends on the weave. Sometimes you got to open longer and you got to weave it through before you go back to closing. You know, European form one like this is one of the fast, if you're not just doing like a Japanese one-in-one type thing, where you're more into opening and closing more often than weaving, and that can take that out on you a little bit too. But I'm building up, you know, I always have different calluses on my hands because of being a chainmailer, but whenever I get into doing an inlay and getting, you know, 2 to more hours a day in an inlay, I start building up some calluses on weird parts of my fingers. And I've tried to put some different tapes and whatnot on my pliers. It doesn't really seem to help. It seems to hamper my ability to make better closures than I would like. And so normally I just don't even use it. I just kind of deal with I get this one callus back here because I use a bunch of my pinky right there. I don't know if you see me while I'm doing all this, but I use a lot of pinky juice. And right up in here, I don't really get sore though. That's where a lot of my pressure is up there in that thumb. I never get really sore there. It's normally my pinky that gets a little sore. On both hands, more so on the left hand. But that's, I think, because I'm keeping it more straight and I'm using my other hand for most of my bending. Right arm for and shoulder for all that. So, alright. Okay, I'm going to throw on the glasses for a half second here. Give a quick look around, make sure I'm not missing anything. It looks like I'm not seeing any comments anywhere. Looks like I might have a viewer or two, though, between Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube, by the looks of it. But again, like I said, people show up, they can drop in. I know I've seen a few drop in and take off. See what's going on, which is all good. Like I said, we're just here to have fun. And like I said, the original thought of the stream was to let people know that I'm still out here doing stuff, since I'm not posting a ton of pictures and stuff all the time. I've already explained why I got tired of posting a bunch of the same pictures over and over again, but I guess that's part of marketing, and I should be, but I don't know. Again, I'm my own worst enemy when it comes to that. I need to have somebody that can do this full-time for me with no pay, if that's possible. Anybody want to do that? Give me a holler. Alright. 10 crossed. Because that's the biggest thing, trying to promote myself is just so weird. It's 6, 8, 9. That's the weirdest part about doing the chainmail. And other people do it really good out there. There's some good chainmailers to promote, but I suck at it. I'm always like, I don't know. It's always a weird thing to me. Seems like I'm okay when I'm doing other people's stuff. I can promote, bands and other things and whatnot, but my own stuff, I'm like, why does it feel so weird when I can talk about other people's stuff and, this and that, but my own, no. I'm going to take off the glasses, but we're going to leave them on for a few, I guess. See if I can keep on to where we at. 18 minutes in, not doing too bad. Again, always a little bit slower on a stream. Not by a lot, but I think I'm now in, like I said, we're going to be closing up. I've been making video folders of 10 hours of video at a time, because that's what my program will allow. I'm going to be testing out some more video programs here soon, though. I don't know, even if I'm probably, the version I'm using now, I probably need to update. It's probably 3 versions old, so I mean, it might, in the newer version, they might have longer capability than what I currently have. But yeah, it locks me down to 10 hours. After that, it won't let you put any more video into your timeline, and it's like, So like I said, I'm gonna do some trials of some other video software. I'm gonna do some reading up on that. See if I want to get anything different than what I've been using. Been using the same software for the last 20 years. It's always done good. I've never had really any issue with it, getting updates and all that, but I've kind of, since I'm not doing any, I was always kind of more afraid to try anything new in a way. When it comes to, I always did something new every year for my DVDs for the band and stuff, but I was always afraid to try new software, because I was like, man, I don't want to get into it and then just, everything take 10 times longer, because it was already a lengthy process as is. The amount of time I spent doing all the video and whatnot. If you've been around, you've heard and you've seen, especially if you're on my friends' pages, personal pages, you would know. But and so I was always afraid. Now that I don't have to worry, and that's not not necessarily a priority. I still got some band stuff I'm still doing, but another 3 weeks. September 19th is a Tuesday. I'll be doing going to get some video and watching all the everybody in the school districts, high school, the 4 schools, do theirs for their little festival. I always like going to that and seeing all the schools perform. It's a neat little thing, so we'll still be doing that, contests, etc. Double stuck. I didn't want to fight with a double stuck. So when we get to, I don't know, if somebody shows up and you want to see what we're going for. I can pull out the picture at some point. But if you're watching later or whatnot, you can go back to the beginning of the video. I showed it there. And I'm going to try to remember. I don't think I did Tuesday, but I'm going to try to show it again at the end. I don't want to kind of do it in the middle. I guess I can in a little bit if it's a quick shot. I just don't want to do a lot of editing to the video later. That's why I said we're only going with the one camera right now instead of watching me and the ugly old face camera. But we'll just continue to work away and work away. So we're 20 minutes in, so we'll get this row done at least, and some more of the next. But when we come back next Tuesday, like I said, we'll have a lot more done. It'll starting to pull its way around, because once we get to a point, it's more just feather stuff, blending in that. So you know, it was kind of boring for a while. That's why I didn't want to say what it was, because there was nothing to show. And then we're going to get to the point where there'll be a lot of kind of changing, and then it kind of feathers out after that point. And come on, get on through there. You're being stubborn, aren't you? You're going through the right rings, right? Yeah, correct. You're just being stubborn. I get it. You always have those stubborn rings on occasion. And then you'll have the ones that are so stubborn you end up pulling them out and putting them in a pile. And I kind of used to have a pile of ones that I really wanted to melt because they just, I don't know, there's been a few rings that for some reason have just royally, like, ticked me off. I don't know what it was about these rings. I would say that through the years, I've probably had 100 rings that, I mean, I have rings, you know, they'll slip or something, no biggie, you know, you scruff them up, you take them out. But there have been some rings that you just work with, and you're like, for whatever reason, you end up screwing them up anyway. So you have to take them out, but by the time the whole process was done, they just, for some reason, just, you know, there have been rings that have just royally just like, I feel like they have wronged me in some way or another. And some of them have come to the fate. I was trying to pull, this has probably happened 10, 12 times. I think on a couple streams I've done it. I'm not quite sure. I don't quite remember, but I know I've done it at least a dozen times probably, where I was trying to pull a ring out, I screwed it up while I was trying to put it in. It was difficult getting in. I finally got to the point, I've got to try to close it, I slipped, screwed up, so then I had to pull it out. And they gave me like twice as much problems pulling it out than put it in. And so I grabbed the clippers, you know, the snippers, and just go in and cut it out. I've done that out of frustration a few times. And I'm not going to be able to reuse the ring anyway, so... but yeah, there have been some rings that I felt had physically and purposefully wronged me. Now, out of the amount of rings that I've done throughout all these years, I mean, we're talking a minuscule amount, but there have been a few rings that caused me to stop for a day and a half of mailing. It was just, I finally got it out. And, well, there was one that I ended up cutting out because I was trying to get it out. Oh, this one drove me nuts. I wish it was just on a bracelet too. I don't remember what the weave was, but it's frustrating getting it in. And I got it in, like I said, most time when I get them in finally, I screw them up trying to close them because they're such a tight fit anyway. They're hard to get in and out. But while I was trying to get it removed because I screwed it up, I didn't want to cut it out, so I was trying to take it out. But in doing that, I ended up scratching up 3 more rings that I had to replace. Just trying to get the stupid thing out. That was the one that, yeah, it made me stop for a day and a half. I mean, I couldn't do any more that day. I didn't do none the next day. And finally, I want to call it the third day, I was finally over it in a way. But I don't know. That was definitely, I would say, yeah, because even before I started doing this business, I never really got frustrated with it because more it was a play thing. And I didn't know very many weaves. And it was when I started learning more weaves and becoming a business and stuff, it can become more frustrating to me. I mean, it is business. You're gonna have frustrations. Because, you know, chainmail is not like a mainstream business. It's not like selling shoes or something, but I do want to make some. Well, there are some chainmail shoes. I don't know if you've ever seen them, but they're made for swimmers and stuff, and it's all machine made, so it's cheaper than I could ever make it by hand, but they're kind of cool looking. And the nasty wing here. And then, yeah, I don't think we ever made it. Well, yeah, well, when I do the other way, when I'm working left to right, like we are right now, I can lay it the right way. When we start working back up the line, working backwards like I normally do, I flip this thing around. I don't flip it over, I just flip it around to spin it on the table and work back from this way down, but I'm kind of working backwards. I found that to be the easiest way for me to put these rings in and get to where I can have them so I can close them. When I'm coming this way right now, I can flip it up over these two rings where I can do my closures. When I try coming back, it's such a weird angle, I have to keep flipping it around every time I was doing it, and I was noticing I was just spending a lot of time moving it around. So then I started figuring out how to do it while it was just already that direction. So I kind of, not quite all the way at 90 degrees, it'll be at a light, slight angle, you'll see it, but, and when I finally get the time lapse done, you'll see it, but I don't think we were doing on stream, I had it flipped around when it was skinnier, but once it became fatter and fatter, it was more difficult than it should have been to do what I wanted to do. So, but like I said, these rings, they're so tight. AR3. If it was TRLs 3, it would. Well, these aren't 3. I can tell you that. TRLs are not 3. AR, they're a little bit. They're probably 3.1 something. They're a little looser, and that's going to be my biggest thing with this whole inlay right now is I'm getting a little worried of what's going to happen when I get it in the main body of the head, if that makes sense. Where it's mostly the frost's going to be in there. It's going to be so loose in there. I'm hoping it's not going to be so loose after so much that it's going to droop. That is a kind of a major concern of mine right now. Depending on how much it does, I could come through and possibly do some type of contraction in the middle to try to help cinch it up a little bit. I don't know if it'd throw it off much, but it depends on how much droop there is. Again, I'm not sure how much droop there will be, if there will be. When I'm mixing it in right now, it's not too bad. There's a little bit, but it's not bad. But when I'm going to have so much without any other colors around for the most part for a while. When I start getting to the end, though, it might pull it back up when there's more colors down, when I'm finishing off the bottom, where I'm back to more of it'll be mostly gold down there, and blacks when I get to the tips of the bottom feather area. So, I'm unsure how it's going to work out right now. I wasn't concerned until I really started getting more whites in and realizing how much difference there was between them, and then that's when I measured them. Same wire size, it's just the inner diameters are quite different. I mean, not a ton, we're talking tenths of an inch, or of a millimeter, not even an inch. So, it's a little weird. We're going to have to, like I said, just going to have to play it by ear. Hopefully it'll come out okay. If I'm happy with it, like I said, I'm hoping that I'm gonna ask the school, I'm gonna donate it to them if they would like it. If not, no biggie. Everything I originally planned to kind of just do for myself, but there's always been something that kind of went along with it. So this one's kind of got its own little thing going with it, and that's why I wanted to do it. And if not, I'll keep it for myself, and I won't sell it because what it goes with, it might be the actual first inlay that I would have hung up for myself in the house. Both the daughter and the son living here, they both have inlays hanging up in their rooms of Daughter's got music note or music staff. Son's got the that's the one I did in the 1/8" 20 gauge inlay of the Punisher skull. So I don't have any for myself though. Like I said, I'll make a whole lot of stuff for myself. How many of those are stuck together? Okay. Quick check, see how many. We'll get these going. We'll finish up this line. I think this is line 34? 34 or 35. I have to look a little closer. I know, like I said, didn't get a whole much more. I got in the 2 hours basically on Tuesday. That's about all I got done. I started good. Got in 2.5 hours yesterday morning into the early afternoon, and then a little bit more. Had a few smaller sessions, a little bit there, and then once kind of the evening kind of crept up from about 4 o'clock on, I was like, man, 4 o'clock I'm doing good. I should be able to get me at least another line or two in. And then there's just more stuff to do, and never ended up getting back to doing any. So that kind of blew, but hopefully today I can kind of make up for that. There's a few things I need to get done, but a little bit of the extra I did last night should hopefully save me some time today, so we'll see. And, well, what did I only think I got about 35, 40 minutes in this morning on this. I was ready to come back at getting at it about 11:15, 11:30. Then I'm like, oh, if I get me in a half-hour session, this can push me to 12. Then I'm going to be rushing to try to get the stream going again. Hands are going to be worn out because it's just, So I was like, I did spend a little bit of time. I know my intro has listings of Monday, Wednesday, Thursday streams. I've been trying to fix it for a while. It's not an easy fix. I kind of hard-coded things. First try it. Well, it's not the first try of doing all that stuff. But after, trial error, I think I've got it kind of figured out. I probably need to spend another hour or two, and seems like a simple thing, but if I could recreate it and kind of do it the right way where it's not so hard-coded type, make it easier if I need to change again. But I don't plan on making any changes to that part. We are at about our midway point, so that kind of leads into that. Don't forget to like and all that stuff between Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. We streamed all 3 of those platforms. We're now streaming on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 12:30 Central Time. 12:30 in the afternoon, PM, whatever you want to call it there. So far it's been working out pretty well for us. The late night, well, not late nights, but the later at night wasn't really working with everything with the cats and then the wives, and not the wives. I don't want multiple wives. One's enough. One is enough. And not in a bad way. Don't get me wrong. But, so anyway, check us out on Tuesdays, Thursdays. When we're working on inlays, you'll see a big difference if you come check us out on Thursday and come back next Tuesday. If you check us out on a Tuesday and a Thursday, you'll see a little progress here and there. But after this inlay, like I said, we will be working on the Kelsey jersey I've been wanting to do. Kind of got most of it. There's a few other little pieces I'm trying to finalize a bit, but main structure of it I can easily start because that's 100 hours of work that I'm pretty much ready to go, so if not a little bit more. And I don't know, we probably won't be doing that every stream. We'll probably pulling it out for one of the days of the week streams, and then kind of do a little something different for one of the other days, get back into doing some smaller things, so there's always something a little different going on at least one day of the week. And then, when it comes to that, the jersey, we do have some events coming up, so it'll probably, like I said, it's going to be a definitely slower build than the Mahomes jersey. But we're going to do what we can, try to have some fun. Like I said, September 28th, 29th, or 29th, 30th. Will be a Glad Fest if you're in Kansas City, if you're streaming. Here will be a Glad Fest. We're going to be in hopefully the big tent. I haven't got full confirmations yet that we're going to be in the big tent, but that's what we applied for. Last year we were in our own small tent, and wanted to try the indoor tent, see what it was like, and then if I decide to continue doing the events, I'll have a better idea if I went indoor or in there or outside one. Both have their pluses and minuses, so I mean, it's about like anything. I gotta try it to know. Last year though, I wanted to at least go over and look at it, and maybe that would have helped me last year, but it was kind of on the opposite side of the whole festival area, fairground area they had. It was on the complete opposite side, so I never did get a chance to go over there. I know my oldest, she bring the grandkids up there, and they were over there, but I never did ask her about it. She said she was over there, but I never got to ask her afterwards later on. What was it like? You know, was it compact more? Was there heat traffic compared to over where we were? I'm sure she probably wouldn't have any clue of it now, and even then she probably wouldn't have. I mean, when you got 4 kids, you're trying to lug around. So I would get it, but so we're going to try that anyway this year and see how it goes, and we're going to be pretty much confirmed on doing, we've always do the Tonka one. That's the first Saturday of December, and then we do the Oak Park one, and I always forget the date. It's always the same, but I always forget which one it is. I can't remember if it's the weekend before Turkey Day, the weekend after Turkey Day. I don't think it was the weekend after, because it seemed like I always had like a 3-week period between it and doing Tonka. But last year we missed out on them both, and years before that they had the COVID stuff, and so it's been actually a few years since we got sick last year and wasn't able to get to either. Like I said, we were having a really good year last year up until November of last year, and then it kind of took a big old dump. I mean, you know, it is what it is, and we dealt with it and moved on, but now it's just put in other things we have to kind of think about and whatnot. I guess that's what happens as you get older. Definitely things I'd think about nowadays being over 50, then never would have even dawned in my brain at 35, even 40 for the most part. 50, it started really kind of sinking in there for some reason. You know, I guess once all your kids are out of school, I mean, I guess we got one going to doing college stuff now, but she's about done with that too, so kind of makes everything a little weird. Alright, there's the end of that one. Count out and flip a Rooney here. Like I said, I like to flip this around. We'll end up working at kind of an angle here the best I can. Not the easiest thing to work with. It's going to become more and more difficult, and I might end up changing again how I work with it. It just kind of depends once we get to it. 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, right? Yeah, 18, yeah. Alright, so this side always is a little bit longer of a one to do because I have to come in at a weird angle. I tried to open the rings differently, and I've tried some different things. Right now, the way I'm doing it just seems to be the quickest, even though it's slow. Like I said, when I'm not doing the stream, this row always takes me about 55 minutes to come down. It seems like sometimes an hour if I have a few stubborn rings. Now I will say that will probably pick up slightly though when I do get into more of doing the frost in the body of the head, just because the rings are a little more forgiving. Not necessarily forgiving, it's just because their AR is a little bit bigger. There's more room to get in there. It's not such a tight squeeze when I have to come around at this, because I slide in between and slowly twist my ring, my open ring, till it goes through the first ring. Because I've tried to slide it through like I do the front side, and it just doesn't work very well. So, alright. And this is why I started going without the glasses, because these are a little bit further away. because I'm working upside down, what I normally do, and I found it was just easier to see things. And once this thing gets bigger, though, most of this is probably going to be in my lap because I'm not going to be able to work it up here for sure. I'll need it. This is about the furthest I want to be away from it. I'd rather be closer, but who wants this? It'd be hard to have do a time lapse when you just time lapse the back of my head for hours because I'm hovering over it. Once I get a few in, though, this does get a little easier. Once it starts, it seems like the first 7, 8 are the worst, but then everything starts to pull a little bit together more. Everything will kind of bend and turn out of the way more. Just becomes easier. Let's see, I don't see any new blurs, so I don't think I'm missing any comments. It's like, oh, let's go look and see. Yeah, it's a big blur over there without my glasses. Come on, get in between. But I'm hoping for the best of this, you know. I still need to get into my Kelsey portrait inlay because I still haven't fixed his eyes fully. Kind of gone through. I think I've partially fixed one that I'm getting much better with. I think it's just got a few little changes. But the other eye, I don't know what it is. It seems like I screwed up the other eye worse than what it was. So I've got to pull it out and do some changes and stuff to it still. I don't know what it is about that one. Mahomes came together really easy. And then when I started working up the Jones, I was like, oh man, I was a little worried about Jones, but then it started coming together pretty good. But the worriedness, there's a few minor changes I did make to it during the process that ended up working out pretty good. And I thought I was making kind of the same progress on the Kelsey one, but there's just something about it that I haven't gotten quite right. Part of it is the picture too. In my head, I have a different picture kind of per se of Kelsey in my head, and I know what the picture is. I mean, I got the picture of what I'm using as my reference for this, but it just seems so different. And I don't know. Part of that I think is what's wrapping around my head because I had a friend come over. He was looking at it, and he could see where I was talking about on the eyes. He got what I was saying, what I didn't like about him. But there was a few other parts that I was like, and this part I just didn't really care for. And he thought I was a little crazy when I was talking about part of an ear, and I think it was just the ear part. It drives me nuts. When I do quick looks, I don't necessarily notice it. It's whenever I look more is when I see it more. But again, that could just be me, and because I built it, I mean, if I go back and look at Mahomes, there are probably a few things I'd like to still change of that, even though everybody says it's perfect. I don't know what I would want to change would make it any better, or, I mean, I could screw it up more, so that's why I haven't really touched it. But one day, the whole piece will come together. Like I said, it's got the end that's going to have 8 different large inlays. Oh, sorry, the cat must have got up. I was like, what's going on over by the door? So it sounds like he pulled the door open. I'm going to have to go shut that because I don't want that heat creeping in. It doesn't take very much to heat back up down here in this basement. I think the basement would be cooler, but no return vents or anything like that, so really nowhere to get rid of any hot air that builds up, and I'm a hot air machine. I blabber, blabber, blabber. Give me just a second. I don't know where you wandered off to, but we won't be screaming too much longer. Where are we at here? 44 minutes, so yeah, we only got about 15 more minutes, and then I'll make him come back in if he doesn't come back in on his own. I don't know. I didn't see him, so he might have just went out there and plopped under the trailer like he normally does. He'll open it up, get out there going, oh, it's hot, plop. Or he's got, I know this kind of sounds a little weird, but there's a little spot out over behind our metal shed that I've kind of just made like a little 2-foot area that I just left a pile of leaves in because he loves going to the bathrooms in a pile of leaves. So I kind of made him his own little outside restroom there. We kind of mow around it. I've kept it full of anytime there's always some leaves running around, from falling off trees, whatnot. And I just kind of put the little pile there, and that's his little pee pile, I guess. I guess I'd rather have it that than going out into the box we're trying to get rid of, because that's why we never got to use it. We've been here for 20 years. Bought the house thinking we had this big area. I don't know. It's probably 15 by 25-ish. With what do they call those? They're wooden. They're not railroad ties. Landscaping board. I don't know what. The half round type weird things. It's nicely built and full of rocks, tiny pebble rocks, which is all great. And, there's nothing in it, but we didn't necessarily think anything because we bought it. We started looking at this place in November, so it's starting to get on the cold side. Thought, okay, wintertime. We ended up closing everything in January, so it wasn't until everything started thawing out that first summer that we started noticing why there was probably nothing in this box. It was built, but come to when we started moving in and thawing out, we noticed that it was actually the neighborhood litter box for all the stray cats, it seemed like. And that's probably why they never used it for anything, because it was just a big box, so we never really got to use it. I mean, there's a lot less stray cats now. We actually helped with some of them. We took in a few females, got them fixed and all that, so and then bring them back, but there's litters that of cats that we try to help with the strays, so they've definitely calmed down on the strays through the area now, but still got this box. Now our kids are too big to really use it. Thought about, okay, we could try to clean it up and do something for the grandkids with it, but in all honesty, I'm getting too old to have to want to mess with it. I'd rather just to be flat grass and I can just mow it and not have to worry about, because right now it's not even really rock. It's so many years of it growing trees and whatnot, and it becoming kind of this jungly area, which actually didn't look super bad, to be honest with you. It almost looked purposeful in a way, but it just wanted to. It was always having to knock it back. It just drives me nuts. So that's why I'm looking for the two men, excavator and a barrel or a dump truck or whatever. So I figure if you have the right equipment, I'd get somebody in here and they'd probably just spend a matter of an hour maybe, and everything would be gone. And that's probably be generous. I mean, I've seen some of these guys work some of those things, and there's not a whole lot here with what I really, really want done. I'm not changing anything major. It's just pick the crap up, dump it in a bucket, and get it gone. And I mean, you can level out a bit, but I'm still going to kind of come through and do a little bit myself, because I was thinking about if we do get that done, I wouldn't mind putting in maybe a couple raised gardens areas that we could, I know my daughter's into it. She's going to be moving soon enough, but kind of got me, I used to do it as a kid, and I kind of miss it in a way, and it's a pain in the butt sometimes, but it was something I thought, I could convert a little bit of that area into doing a little something with it, but who knows? Like I said, I got to find the right people to do it, because I don't know if my search terms are just not right. I'm looking for people to do it, but there's a few things that I found, but it seems like it's more guys with a truck and a shovel, and it's like, well, I don't want somebody that's going to take 2 or 3 days of trying to load up a truck with this, when proper equipment can be done quicker. Granted, it's going to cost more, but who knows? I mean, if some guys with the right equipment can take an hour to do it, is it going to be cheaper than having guys with just a shovel and a truck taking 2 weeks to do it, Because they're definitely going to be paid for doing 2 weeks worth of work, per se. So, I mean, there is that, trying to find that medium difference in there. Something I could do, I would do it myself slowly over time, like everything else. It just takes time, but I don't really have any kind of trailer way of getting rid of stuff. That's why I have a big old pile of brush now, because I don't really have an easy way of getting rid of it. I don't have an open trailer, and I wouldn't want to use my closed trailer for it for the business, so thought about getting a small other trailer, but then you got property tax you got to pay on all those trailers. I got a camper that, I don't know, they must think that the taxes we pay on that yearly, they must think it's like a small mobile home or something. I'm like, this thing is like, you can't fit more than 2 people in it. Half your feet are covered up because half the kitchen that goes back is a teardrop little camper. I mean, but we pay so much more in taxes on that compared to just the enclosed trailer. It's insane. I'm like, I don't get it. I guess it's because it's considered a luxury per se, but yeah, go camping in it. It's not a super luxury. I honestly, kind of in a way, rather sleep in a tent. my newest, no, 6, right? Yeah. All right, 6. Let me make sure. I have this. It's a personal bench, sitting bench tent, cot tent. And it's like a cot. You can lay out on it, but it also comes with a tent that goes over the top of it, so you're off the ground. And that was like super comfy. The few times that I've used it, when I've needed to use it, super comfy, super easy to use. And with most things anymore, it's just going to be myself because wife's health issues. We can't really get out and do anything anymore like that. Just not necessarily feasible. I don't necessarily need a big old camper from just myself, so a little tent thing will probably work good. I haven't done anything like that yet, though. I'd kind of like to. I wouldn't mind doing something like that this fall. I used to go camping as a kid all the time. Tried to with our kids, but they weren't really into it. Also, I mean, it's not cheap to go camping. You think you're roughing it going camping, but it's not actually a cheap endeavor. Especially if you don't go to like a state park, because some of the local places, just to rent a camp spot for the night, 60, 80 bucks. I'm like, are you kidding me? I remember camping, it was $6 a night for a tent spot. I mean, granted, I know electric's going to be a little more and all that, but man, the prices were in. Then I started noticing that was, like I said, at local, not state park ones. When I started looking at state park ones, they're better priced, let's say. They're still more expensive than I think they should be, but I guess they have added more amenities than, back, I mean, not a ton more, but, back when we were kids going camping, there wasn't a whole lot at campgrounds, per se. I mean, you had some stuff, but now it's almost like some of these places I've seen and been to, it's like a little playground thing. If people are driving around, you can rent golf carts to get around the campground, and there's pools and parks and playgrounds and water shooters, and I'm like, this is like a theme park almost. This isn't necessarily camping anymore. And that's it. That is also more at the private ones. So, and the state park ones, they don't have as much of that. I like the state park ones, back in the day too, because they had most of them had a lot of them had amphitheaters, and we had a thing here in Missouri where you could go around to different state parks in Missouri and go to their little amphitheater things, and you could get your little things stamped to get badges for what you learned and forestry and all that. And I always had fun doing that stuff as a kid. I always had a good time with that. I probably still would. So it's kind of something I've been looking at. Now that I'm getting older, I find myself out there watching the birds and the squirrels more and more. I'm like, oh, I'm getting old. I'm watching squirrels and birds. Though, the birds have been kind of cool. Like I said, we had that one square bird. I haven't seen him lately, though, but I will say I haven't been outside with this heat we've had over the past 10 days or so. It's like, no thank you. I mean, with the heat and no rain, there hasn't been a lot of growth in the grass, but it is starting to get to the point that it could be mowed. But I'm like, I am not getting out there. I wake up in the morning, the sun hasn't even come up, and it's 82 degrees, 99% humidity. Today we didn't wake up. The last 2 days we woke up, it was 81, 82, with no sun yet, but then as soon as the sun's coming up, you start realizing it's foggy. So it's just the thick, ugly yuckiness everywhere. It's just, it's been miserable the last few days, to say the least. Ready for it to be gone. That's why I'm like, Saturday, I cannot come here soon enough. Let's see here. 5, 6, 7, 8. Only need 8, not you. 3, 6, 7, 8. Okay. This is going to start coming together where these feathers will come together here soon. Where are we at on our time? 55 minutes. Well, we got a decent amount done. Not as much as I would like, but you know, it is what it is. Looks around, make sure I didn't miss any comments. And hopefully the comments are working. I haven't had any problems as of late with them when I do get them, so I know there for a while on occasion I was having some weird trying to get my comments, but I do want to thank everybody though for dropping in. If you dropped in to see us today, I know I've seen some people coming in and out. A few times I've looked over and I've seen some people throughout different rooms between Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube, so it seems like I've seen 2 people pop in over there on the Twitch side, which is kind of good. I mean, I don't get a whole lot of followers on the Twitch. I think I've only got 7 followers on my Twitch, so I've got a little more on YouTube. I'm not exactly sure, but obviously Facebook is where I have most of my followers. It's where I've been mostly at for years, so. But if you're into any of those other platforms, like I said, you can go over there and follow us. You'll get updates just as much as you would with these others. If depending on how they all work, they all, you know, all these platforms change all their stuff. It seems like every 3 weeks on how things work. I'm still trying to figure out certain things. And don't get me started on the smartphone. We already talked about that. Smartphone driving me banky. What was it that went off? We had that weird noise Tuesday. I never did figure out where that weird noise come from. It's set up to actually be a voicemail, but again, my voicemail things are kind of working. I keep getting errors whenever it tries to download my voicemail. It just keeps saying, I'll get a notification saying error while trying to download voicemail or something like that. I've gone through, tried to see what's going up. I don't know why it's not. But at least I guess it gives me a notification now that there is a voicemail, that it tried to get a voicemail and it couldn't. So now that I can at least manually go check, because before, like I said, I had missed months and months of voicemails until I had somebody, a customer, contact me going, yeah, I've left a few voicemails for you and thought I'd try the email. And so I was like, that is so weird. And I mean, I know I've seen the missed call numbers, but I hate to say it, 99% of my calls on this stupid phone are spam calls, robot calls for, you know, we've seen your business has ranked blah, blah, blah. We would like to, you know, just... And so, I mean, whenever I see numbers with no names attached to them, I normally don't even think about, you know, they leave messages, but most time, like I said, it's junk messages. So when I got in there, I had a bunch of those, I guess, and my box was actually full because of the junk ones. So I've been trying to make it more religiously, getting in there and checking that. And like I said, I wish I could figure out how it would notify me and let me hear the messages when I get them, instead of having to call it in every time. But as long as it at least lets me know that something happened over there, I can at least go delete the crap, block those numbers, or get my actual messages from customers and or event coordinators. That's the thing. There's an event coming up. Would have been next weekend. I think weekend after next. I think it's first weekend in September that I was going to be able to do in Parkville or Pleasant Valley. No, not Platte City. Duh. Park Hill, Platte City, blah, 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 yeah. Out in Platte City, it was an invited craft fair. You're looked into before you get invited. I was invited, but I didn't get an email, and it was only through a voicemail. They actually didn't have my email. So it's the voicemail, and I missed it. It was 6 weeks later before I finally realized I had a message there when I tried to call her back. Everything was just too late. I figured it so. She said she was going to contact me back. She never did. But like I said, I knew it was kind of getting late, and I was like, I'm sorry for contacting you so late. I didn't get to this, and I was having issues with the phone, but so that one kind of sucked. That one was one that I was kind of looking forward to. It was nice to get invited kind of out of the blue in a way. I know some of these you got to ask to get in, you get jured to get in, blah blah blah. Somehow this one got a word of mouth, or they had seen me and knew, and they just wanted to invite me. So that was nice, but didn't get to take advantage of it, which does suck. I'm kind of hoping it'll get better and they'll call me back. I'm hoping. Hopefully it wasn't a total. Hopefully I didn't shoot myself in the foot for the phone not working properly. I mean, part of that is my fault, but part of the phone, because for years, I mean, I've upgraded phones, and I don't think that has anything to do with it, because it was this particular phone I've had now for 3 years, and it was perfectly fine, because I've actually got some saved messages on there that it downloaded from 2.5 years ago, maybe 2 years ago. But that's when the problem started, and I haven't been able to download any since then. So I still have those other saved messages from then. I've actually got 3 saved messages, well, 2. I guess the third one was actually one I saved, but I don't know why I saved it. It didn't matter, but I got another one from actually an old director of the band I used to help out. His father got him into doing drone work and droning, flying drones and stuff, kind of when he was kind of helping out and doing stuff, and he had his drone attacked by a hawk one day, and he left me a message, and so that one was saved. I saved that one. And I got another one from the first year, the new band director at the current school. He called me. That was the first year with COVID. You had to get tickets to get to the stadium for the games and protocols and all that stuff. But one day he had called, and he didn't know my name or anything, but anyway, he got done with the message and pocket dialed, I guess, or something, because I had it was about a 5-minute long message, and I don't think he ever hung up the phone. I think time limits happened. But there was nothing for a while, and I was like, well, and I actually just sat the phone down, not thinking much about it, started to do something else. Then I started hearing something. He got back to his office, and you could hear him pick up he was playing on a clarinet, so I have a little bit of him playing clarinet, practicing a piece of music on clarinet, and it's a funny little thing. I kept it. And I don't think I've ever actually told him about it, because I only remember about it on occasion. So. Alright, now I'm on to 10 Frosty. Where are we at in our time? Oh, we are. Let's do our count here real quick, so I don't want to forget it. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10? What did I say I needed now? 10. Alright, so there's our 10. Like I said, this is what it's upside down right now. We'll do a quick thing that I can cut out here at the end of our video. Why does it look blurry? Does it look blurry? Maybe it's just my eyes. Like I said, I've been in and out of my glasses, but hopefully it's okay. But that's what we're going for at the end of this. It's going to be the Griffin head from my old high school. But it is Thursday, so we will not be back till next Tuesday. So hopefully there'll be a lot of progress done. I'm hoping to actually be below the beak by then easily. Close to coming in on halfway, I hope, by next Thursday. So we'll see how it goes. But I hope y'all have a great weekend. Otherwise, we're just going to hang out and do some of this. I don't think we'll do a surprise one this weekend, but who knows? If we have a good day, maybe we'll pop in and do one. But otherwise, we'll be back next Tuesday. So don't forget to give the likes, thumbs up, shares, all that good stuff. And we'll catch you then. Peace.